Want to tell me what you're making?
Cream of broccoli soup.
And why are you making it?
Because it's fall and we have some broccoli to use up.
And whose recipe are you using?
Somebody from the internet.
So this will be a mystery whether this is going to be beautiful tasting or not. So you got onions and carrots in there. What kind of seasoning they put in that?
Garlic, paprika, salt, pepper. Chicken broth.
Chicken broth and the broccoli soup.
What do you think makes the soup part?
Water?
Have faith, Padawan.
How come you got this water boiling here?
To make the chicken broth?
So I was right. It's the water that makes the soup.
But it's the chicken broth that gives it the flavor.
But we don't want chicken soup, we want broccoli soup.
Chicken broth is the base for many, many recipes.
Sounds to me like this internet person didn't really know how to make broccoli soup.
Every single broccoli soup recipe that is on the internet has chicken broth.
I'm not really buying that.
Out of my kitchen.
Warning, warning. This video contains no nudity and no speaking with the dead.
Okay guys, so I just got a package in from Amazon. This has been a few days in the making. The other day I was on Facebook and my buddy Nick messaged me out of the blue, "Hey Grant, how's it going?" And a few months ago when I first discovered the method for speaking with spirits at my sink, him and I had been talking, and I'm not even sure where he lives anymore. I worked with this fella 15 years ago, and he was a friend of my brother's before that. And so anyways, we got started shooting the breeze, and that happened to be the day after God came through the kettle fountain. So I was trying to explain to him, I said, "Oh, I'm still doing my sessions and whatnot." And of course I said, "God came through the kettle fountain," and I threw on the end of that into Facebook. I said, "And I'm not crazy." You feel the need to validate yourself when you're speaking to God at your sink, okay? Anyways, he writes back, he said, "Oh geez, don't worry about it." He says, "I make like energy portals out of Orgonite, so don't worry about it." And I was like, huh, well, what are you talking about? Energy, like for healing? I've never heard of this Orgonite, didn't know what he was talking about. And so he proceeded to explain to me what this is. And it sounded so interesting to me. He also threw out a name which I don't have. I'll have to go back down to the computer and get it. He said, "Oh, this guy was he mastered this technique of making these. You'll see what they are. It's like a compressed epoxy crystal, basically, that people make, and you put certain things in it, like a quartz stone wrapped in copper wire and different things. I have a bunch of stuff I want to put into my crystal that I'm going to make." So anyways, he gave me the name of this guy, and I said, well, with my method, this is perfect. I should try and contact this guy, have a conversation with him, ask him about Orgonite, what the method is, why he was working on it, because he's passed over now, of course, this guy. And so Nick had some questions. He said, "Well, hey, if you're going to do it," he goes, "I'll ask some questions." And I thought, well, what better thing to do but make one of these crystals myself? So I've ordered the products. I now have everything that I ordered. So I got, first I got the other day, I ordered, this was the confusing part, okay? So here's some resin that I got. So this is just the actual resin, 32 ounces in the same box. So you get another one, same size, 32 ounces of hardener. Now this stuff here was pretty expensive. This is like 70 bucks, okay? So I might goof it up. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's going to go well. I don't know. We shall see. I've never done this before, like I said. So 70 bucks for that. I got tired of looking. I didn't know which resin to buy. There's polyester resin. There's other types. Some of it's more expensive. Some of it's cheaper. Some of it comes in smaller amounts. I just gave up and finally just pushed the button and said, "Buy this one." And that's what I did. I got it. So today I bought a mold. This is a silicone mold to make the pyramid, okay? I got a fairly big one. I think this was 27 bucks. So this is the silicone part. You get 2 of those. And then you get the hard shell, which is the pyramid. You put the silicone inside this one, and then you pour that epoxy into that mold, which I'm going to do. So about a week ago, in preparation for this, a large portion of your orgonite crystal or pyramid or whatever you're making has to be metal shavings. So I was back at my uncle's place and I got this box here because my uncle has a lathe and whatnot, and I said to him, hey, you got any metal shavings kicking around? So he said, help yourself. So it's kind of dirty looking. I haven't cleaned it. Got some big pieces. I got some smaller shavings. It's all just stuff I put together in there. I'm going to put this in a bowl of water, clean them up, and then I will set aside a good portion of that to put into my orgonite crystal. Since I'm out and about, I'm going to take a walk down the road. I'm going to walk the road here, see if I can find a big piece of quartz crystal that I'm going to use as the capstone in my orgonite. Okay, so I'm a few minutes up the road here. Now I'm finding some mixed pieces here, some quartz, some rose quartz. Nothing real solid quartz. This big one by my thumb has like, I don't know if that's like a mica vein in it. Very nice stones, but not quite what I'm looking for just yet. Well, I just found a nice little piece of quartz, and it's got a point on it, which it's supposed to have for this orgonite. You put the point at the top of the pyramid, so maybe this will be my specimen. It's a little smaller than I wanted, but it's still nice. So I get back in my own driveway, and I find the biggest, get down, biggest pieces of quartz right here. Okay, so here's the samples I collected during my walk. Some of them are like really nice and clear, almost like glass, which is pretty awesome. And then some of them have just some really nice, you know, swirls of pink and darker colors. Not real solid pieces of quartz, but yeah, this one here is the biggest. I'll probably use that as the big centerpiece. Actually, as I'm kind of looking in the camera, it almost looks like a diamond shape, so that's kind of cool. Okay, so I put this big pile of shavings here to dry on some paper towels on the table beside my rocks. And then I just twisted this up. So I took this quartz stone here and wrapped it in some copper wire. I'm going to continue to wrap this coil. But I did find this bucket of marbles, which we were actually going to leave at the other house because the kids didn't want them, and I don't remember where we got them, but before we left I started looking online, and these, we used to call them juicy jumbos when we were kids. They're like $6-7 a piece. So I got this whole bucket full of them. And I also found on top this huge piece of quartz. I thought about knocking off a piece of that, but I think I'll leave it as one big piece. Leave it in the old marble bucket. But what I'm doing is I'm going through here and I'm finding some really interesting marbles that I really like, and I might put a couple of these into my orgonite. Now this one here, these three I like. I like the contrast between these three. They look like little planets, right? But this one is probably my favorite. And it's like, I don't think it broke. Maybe it broke like that. It seems really smooth. There's not a sharp edge on it. It's not like it's chipped. Some of them are chipped and you can see, but it's almost like they made it like that, like it was a goof up or something. I don't know. I really like it though, so I might put these three into my orgonite. Okay, so we're going to take some of this cornstarch, and I'm just going to put this in this mold. This is to stop the second one from staying in it. It's pretty slippery as it is. I don't know if it needs this. Apparently this cornstarch will make it easier to come out when it's done. Okay, so now I got to mix up some resin. Gonna mix this for 5 minutes. It's got lots of bubbles in it, so I don't know how clear this is gonna come out. And I don't have a heat gun to put on it. Hey, this is going in as the top layer. Perfect. There's lots of bubbles in there. I don't know how this is gonna turn out. Oh shit, I forgot to level it. Okay, we got this hair dryer. We're going to try that. See all the bubbles in there? Okay, so it's been a couple of hours and I just lightly touched it with a toothpick and it's actually firmed up quite a bit. But if you look really closely here, I'm going to zoom in, there are some bubbles trapped in there. It's a learning process, right? So there will be a few little bubbles trapped in there. I'm going to do one layer of these metal filings now. So I'm just going to dump this in here, right on top, and fill it up with resin again. Okay, so I'm going to put these marbles in. I don't know how it's going to go. It's still pretty moist. Oh, I think that's going to go right to the bottom. Okay, change of plan because I think these marbles are going to sink right to the bottom. Okay, change of plan because I think those marbles are going to sink in there. I'm going to put these in the four corners right now. Okay, so we've got this hardened up. These marbles, we sort of put them down under half. Put all those stones that I collected the other day, I made a layer of that. And I'm going to put this metal shavings as one more base level of metal. This should be kind of cool. And then we're just going to top it off with the final layer of lacquer. Oops. I don't want nothing too big. Can't stick out. Alright, here it is, guys. I'm standing outside because there's better light out here, but it's raining, so I'm in the gazebo. So you can see I put 3 marbles in there. I went with a colored blue, a colored green, and then that black and white one I liked. And then you can see the quartz pieces with the copper wrapped around them. In order to get that pink color in the bottom, I did use a few drops of food color, and then I used a toothpick to swirl it in. So I put a piece of green felt on the bottom here. And full disclosure, so in the lighting I think you can see the layer of metal. There's 2 layers of metal, right? Metal shavings, the bottom layer, and then that layer right below the main crystal. I probably should have stuck a toothpick in there while it was hardening up, stirred around it and make sure all the epoxy got around it, because one of these sides had a hole actually where the epoxy didn't go, and I had to fix it. And you can see all the little imperfections where like the metal was kind of poking through. So I mean, it's not a perfect job, but it's pretty cool. So I did put a quarter in there, a lucky quarter I found a few years ago. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, it has a few imperfections on it. But you know what? I guess that's all part of the package. It was made with love, right? So the next thing I want to do is try and contact Don and see if he can give us some information on the Orgonite. Ask him how he thinks I did, and if this thing's actually going to work and create some good mojo, some good juju. And yeah, have a session at the sink. Catch you guys in the next video.